So there's something with this person where you feel like they could do better. Now let me try not to drop these cards because they just be going crazy. Okay. You also feel like they're slow to make moves and make the change. They could be stubborn. That makes you mad. With this Empress in reverse. It takes you, their energy takes you out of your feminine energy. Because it makes you feel mean. They make you feel mean. Their ways seem careless to you. With this King of Pentacles in reverse, they could not spend their money in the best way. Like their decisions when it comes to how they spend their money could be a little off, and you could just like ask them, why are you overspending? It's like you love each other, but this person has these ways that just get under your skin. It makes me go like this one eye. Can you stop? That's what it feels like little stuff. And I could say that that's little right now just because I'm speaking, but that's actually a big thing. Especially like in a relationship, if the two of you are trying to build something and this person is being like, they're not being mindful when it comes to the important things like money. Like this person might like to shop or like to, I don't know, it just feels like excessive spending. And you're like, we're supposed to be building right now. Are you worried about spending outside with whoever you like, with your friends? It doesn't really feel like cheating. It just feels like material things, maybe. What is it? Ten of Pentacles, King of Cups. There's something about this person where it's like you feel like they love you, but they don't know how to show it. They don't do well with that. They don't do well with showing you the love, and that causes like confrontation between the two of you. This person, it feels like they know that they need to work on themselves. They love you. They just be struggling to improve themselves because they want to be unruly. I really just feel like that's just what it is. They're in this space where they just want to, it's almost like they have a hard time compromising. I'm getting a scenario about the character. This could be a single child, this person, because, you know, sometimes single children could have a selfishness, and it's just because they're used to everything being theirs. They never had to share with a sibling or anything. So for some of you, this could be like someone who's a single child, or was a single child, I should say. They're used to being spoiled. They're not used to really being told about themselves. Okay, because that energy actually does go into it. It will bleed into adulthood. Little things from childhood. So if they're not corrected as a child, in order for this person to improve, they would have to recognize them and be willing to improve themselves as an adult. That's not always what happens though. So this person could have these ways that rooted from their childhood. It's like this selfishness. Not saying that they don't do anything at all, but most of the time when they do something, it's for themselves. And even if they do have siblings, they're in this every man fend for himself energy. And at times you still feel that with this person. That's how you felt, and you're trying to like tell them like that's not cool. They might brush it off and try to make it seem like you're making a big deal out of it. It feels like real dismissive a little bit. Okay? Yeah, like wanting to tower over you. You giving all this love and you trying to be like the nurturer that you are. Okay? Even if you're more nurturing as a masculine, that's fine. Sometimes that it is like that. Sometimes the feminine is more masculine than the masculine, and you know, a little twisted and flipped up. Sometimes it's like that. However, this Emperor is towering over the Queen of Cups, wanting to control and dominate. But not, it doesn't feel too healthy. It feels more like domination. It feels like, I heard dominatrix. Maybe some of you are into that. A little freaky. I just saw the patent leather and all cat suit. Okay, all right now. All right now. Don't hurt nobody. Don't hurt nobody now. Okay, so this person, they want to right their wrongs though. I keep on getting this energy today. They want to right their wrongs. It's like they've been thinking about it and they're recognizing where like the root of their problem comes from, because they're noticing like, you know, I did this stuff. I did the things that caused the problem the most. Not saying you never did anything as if you're an angel, because I don't like to paint that picture, because many times it's two-sided, you know, not all the time. Maybe you didn't do anything, but you know, you know what you did and what you didn't. So just take it as it is. I just don't want to, I don't want it to be like, you know what I mean? I want to make sure that all the what's the word? I want to make sure that everything is covered. Okay? This person just feels like you're so beautiful, and a lot of things that they said to you when they spoke harshly, you did not deserve it. Okay? Someone has spoken harshly to you, and they feel like you didn't deserve that. They know that there's things that they need to work on, because, you know, they just know. They know, even though sometimes they might not act like they know. They feel like they need to show themselves more love so that they could give more love. There's something about showing themselves, or not showing themselves, but exposing themselves to their healing nature. And there's also something here about being mindful of how you respond to people, or how, not really people, but you in this case, because we're talking about you. This person is thinking about how they respond to you. They must gauge that on how they speak to themselves, because we must remember that a lot of times the reason why someone's like nasty and has a nasty attitude towards you is because that's kind of how that is how they feel towards themselves. So if someone doesn't value themselves as much as they should, they'll project that same energy onto you, even though many times that energy may be camouflaged with ego. So you can't really tell that they feel inadequate. They feel bad about it though. You know, they want to do better, because they're seeing what's wrong with them now. I think they're more mature now, so they're seeing like, you know, I could do better with that, because I see how much weight I have on me and how I don't give myself grace, and that angers me inside. So being that makes me angry, I feel like I want to pass that anger on. Unknowingly, I do that to the closest one to me, which is you. A lot of times that's what it is. If you notice, like, if you pay attention to patterns in relationships, many times the one that has been most traumatized is the one that does the traumatizing, because they're trying to release that energy, that heavy energy, because look, that's heavy. Look at all those wands. Look at the effort that the depiction is showing to hold all that. That's a lot of weight. And you have to think about the fact that this person has that weight within them, and they're trying to continue to move as if it doesn't affect them. However, it does. So that energy that they feel overwhelmed by, they're so aggravated and annoyed with it that energy just comes out because it's overwhelming. It's like an overflow of feeling drained and just unhealed. So that comes out in fierce anger and And it could be passionate, but it's just not towards you. It's towards how they actually want to change within themselves. Do you get that? It's like, okay. You know, when, I've never done this before, but I know that campers, they'll take the mirror or something. Yeah, it's like a mirror. And they'll have like the dry grass or like some dry foliage from the forest. And they'll reflect the sun's rays onto the dry grass or dry foliage to spark a fire, right? From the heat. And then they start to blow it so the fire could grow. It's like, that's the same energy that I'm feeling. There's an analogy here. There's the same energy that I'm feeling when it comes to their projections of their anger onto you. So they're like the mirror, you're the sun. They'll project their energy on you, you get mad, they reflect your energy back to them, and it powers them up. That's that fire. So it's like, that's like, it's so crazy because that's what insecurity does. That's what happens when someone feels like insecure, or they just feel bad about themselves for whatever reason. That mirror of projection is there to hurt you on purpose. You see, and them seeing your pain, it's telling them that they were able to get the get back. Not to say that that's healthy. However, sometimes one that is unhealed or one that just wants to give you a taste of your own medicine will behave in that way because it makes them feel better. It releases some of the pain because they're like, okay, so now I'm not going through this pain by myself. I'm going to reflect my pain onto you. And then sometimes it's like a ping pong effect. Like one person is angry, and instead of approaching a situation in a calm manner, it's like angry, and there's yelling, and there's intense words that could just cut deep and make someone cry. And then the other one wants to do that back because they don't want to keep that pain. They want to give it to somebody. So it's like, that's when it becomes like a ping pong of bad energy. Like who's gonna hurt who worse? And that's just toxic. We know that's toxic. However, that's the energy that this person was in. They're seeing that now though. I literally keep seeing the smoke that begins to form on the dry foliage or the dry grass, whatever it is that they be using in the wilderness when they trying to start a fire. I keep seeing that in my mind start to smoke. And the more you blow it, the more that the spark begins to spread so that the fire could start. The spark begins to spread. So this person had this energy where there was like a lot of back and forth arguing. If you'd like to book a healthy conversation, you can. If you're going through this, I know that it's not easy, and I can help you to see things differently, to understand yourself as well as the other person, because I'm a seer and I can see what's wrong with people. I can see through people. And so when you share whatever with me and when Spirit speaks to me for you, I can give you what you need on a level of understanding so that you understand. Many times it's just when people argue, it's like the unhealed lower aspect of themselves that you're arguing with. It's not their higher self. Okay, this person actually really does love you, but and this is something that happens because there's just so many people walking around unhealed and angry, and they don't talk about it and they don't work on it when they need to. It's like having patience in a relationship, and when the voices start to get high, your voices start to get raised and the temperature start rising, you get angrier. That's when it's time to either walk away from each other and think, or like just sit there and look at each other and be mad for a second, don't say nothing. I don't know. Sometimes it's like you just need a second, just a second. Try not to talk over each other. Write a letter to each other when you're sitting right in front of one another if you have a problem with talking over each other. Even if you gotta pass the paper mad, like take the paper and just read it. Because every time I try to talk, you're talking over me. Relationships are not easy, okay? However, there's little things that you could do to try your best to make it work. You know, and both of you have to want it. Because if one person wants to work on it and find therapy within each other, I think that's actually beautiful when two people can come together and find therapy within each other instead of having to go to talk to someone. Because all that person does is stops the two of you from talking over each other and asking questions that you may not ask to guide the truth to come out of you about what the problem really is. I heard sometimes you might feel embarrassed to say what's really bothering you, and they might feel the same. Especially when it has something to do with someone feeling insecure or feeling like ignored or something like that. Because for some that could be a sign of weakness, but it's just truth. That's how I truly feel. And if somebody's trying to say that you're weak for feeling, that's not cool. Because you are entitled to feel your emotions. I was almost going to say feel yourself, but that's the same thing. Okay? This person feels bad for walking away from you instead of talking to you when they could have said something to you that could have made things better in that moment. However, instead they walked away. Now, not to say that that's always bad, but they feel like they could have done better in that area, because sometimes walking away is needed to calm down, because you can't really communicate when the temperature's too high. Two people with high temperatures and nobody's sick, you're just angry, it could get dangerous actually, honestly, because it becomes explosive, and then that's when people start blacking and they do something crazy and don't even know what they did. So, and that doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it can. That's why it's good to separate, to think, and actually be able to make a sound decision instead of acting out from that anger, because that's not good. So this person feels bad. They want to make things right with you. They feel like they need to learn to slow down, though. There's also something, I heard quick tongue. Quick tongue. Well, I'm gonna just leave it there. But I heard quick tongue. Be careful of someone trying to make up in between the sheets. Okay? Make up XXX prior to getting down to the point. Because then that causes illusions and confusions and delusions. You get hypnotized by the P. Okay? You get it? Don't let that happen, because you're not even going to get to a place. You know, it's just going to be like a roundabout loop of confusion. And you might forget what you wanted to say. Okay, so it's like, no, we need to talk about this first before. Okay, and then let's let it really be makeup. You know, if we're going to make up, let's make up with words first. Because then we can actually get to a place of understanding, right? And then it's really like, okay, you healed it. There's no gray areas. There's no void here. Because sometimes people might try that to get you, okay? To try to steer you away from talking about something that needs to be talked about, because they are trying not to talk about it. Because I heard quick tongue. So we all know what that's about. Okay? This person thinks that you're a seer. They feel like you know things. And what about that? But there's something about them feeling bad for making plans without telling you. Like, you wanted them to tell you what you're doing and, or what they're doing, and they didn't tell you, and that would really make you feel like left behind. They know that, though. They know that you feel like that. So, see, this is something that needs to be talked about, because that's the main problem. Abandonment. So, both of you or one of you have abandonment issues, and one of you will use that against the other one, and that is not good. That could cause a breakup real fast, because it's tapping on traumatic experiences from the past, and that is like opening up a wound that was never healed, like digging in it, right? So this person knows that, and so being that they know that, what are they planning to do? They're gonna make it better. They want to make it better. They're starting to realize like the truth about their energy, and they feel very apologetic. So whoever this is for you guys, they really do want to work on themselves. They feel like it's not going to happen overnight, but they feel like they're making progress, and they just would really appreciate if you would see that as well, that they're making progress. They would appreciate that from you. Okay? You're nervous that you're not going to want to hear them out, but they really, it's almost like you might feel like they always say that they're going to work on themselves, and you feel like they don't, but they're saying this time I really will. They really want to. They know that before that they was just saying whatever they wanted to say, and they didn't really stick to it because they kind of flighty sometimes, and they know that about themselves. So they know they're like putting that onto the list of the things that they need to work on if they want to be happy with you. They know that they have to make it right with this Justice card right here in order to be with you, and in order to be with you, with the Lovers in the back. And then in front of the Lovers is the Knight of Swords. So they're like ready to hurry up and get the healing going, like to at least start. Not saying that they're trying to rush through the healing between the two of you. They love you so much, because it started out with love, but they just have their ways that they set in. So they're saying like, I love you enough. No, or let me say, I love you so much that I'm willing to approach you differently and work on myself, and not make excuses to say, oh, I'm doing this because such and such happened in the past. Because it's like, so you're just going to keep on not taking accountability and blaming your past for your behavior now. It's like, you know what happened in the past, and why would, it's like, I feel like you're saying, why would you keep on allowing your past situation to mess up your future? Because you're not really living in the now. That means that you're still living in the past, and you're trying to use the past experience as an excuse, and that's not something that a mature person does. That's not something that someone who actually genuinely wants to improve themselves does. So it's like they're saying, please be patient with me, but I'm trying, because I'm stuck in my ways. But they're willing to change. They just need to like talk through it, and they want to stay consistent with communicating with you instead of walking away and like trying to shine that projection mirror of you on you, their projection mirror on you, to make you get hot and angry. They don't want to do that to you. If they don't make you hot, they want to make you hot for the right reasons. Okay? Not because you're angry at them. Okay? That's what I'm getting. So yeah, this person really wants to work on things with you. And that's what they're planning to do. So as long as you with it, then that's what's going to happen. If you reject this person and you say, get the hell away from me, then that's what's going to happen. So it just, how do you feel? But I think you both love each other. I'm just being silly. But I think you both love each other because that's how it started. It's just like, it was like love and hate. It felt, because I saw the King and Queen of Swords and then the King and Queen of Cups. So King and Queen of Swords, not only are you both, you could be sharp with your tongue, okay? The words cut deep. You're both intelligent, but then you both are ready to use that sword on each other. Even if it's energetic, you're still ready to, like what you say, like that. But then at the same time, you love each other so much, and it's just confusing in the world of relationships. You gotta put the work in if you want it to work, then. Okay? Because together, you can be a happy family with all the cash. And you can get all that. What rhymes with cash? Okay. The Empress is here. Something new. Okay, you're willing to work on it. That's good. That's good. Yes. Yes, yes. Both of you are. I saw the Knight of Wands and the Two of Cups. So the both of you are willing to walk away from playing games and really being serious with each other. So that's a step forward. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Okay, so that's good. I like it. Kudos to the two of you. Okay. This might be somebody in your future, so you could take these tips with you for the future, and just recognize that when people talk crazy to you, it's because they be hurt inside and they trying to throw their hurt on you because they don't want to hold all that by themselves. You know, misery loves company. That's a real thing. You got to think about the real things that go on in the world to recognize what's really happening. Sometimes you guys don't think about people's traumatic experiences, their environment, who was teaching them, where they get their ways from. All of those things matter when it comes to a person. That's why if a person is too like damaged and they're not willing to change, you really have to let them go, because that means that they're not going to make the decision to change for themselves. So that's a waste of time for you. You can't force anybody to change. They're gonna have to accept the challenge, and if they don't, back up and leave them be. They're gonna have you feeling crazy if you stay there. You're gonna have to leave them alone until they figure that out, and maybe they never will, and you have to accept that. Okay? Because you are living to live. Okay? So don't forget about that part. That's very important. Okay? I love you. I'll see you in the next message. Thank you for being here, my loves.